Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Dael and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of Fair Gotham, and welcome back to Bat Minute Forever, the show that is in all of your dreams, all of your fantasies. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And getting beamed into your forehead like a stupefying electric shock, it is I, Niall McGowan.
Yeah, that's what I feel like whenever you speak, you know. It's just,
Yep. That's why I'm here.
No, it's a lovely, soothing Niall to join the irritating me.
That wasn't enough of my own voice now, John, to know that there ain't nothing soothing going on here.
Hey, we're a soothing duo. We're like a nice warm bath. But we are joined by our let's say bubble bath this episode. We're the warm bath, and then the bubbles, the really good bit. We've got joining us the one, the only. It's Dael Kingsmill.
Hello, thank you for having me.
You know, you used to get them for this movie, like the old bubble bath bottles that were like Batman in a pose, or like the Ultimate Warrior doing something. Now I do want a Dael Kingsmill bubble bath bottle. It was like, what pose would you be doing, Dael? Like, would you be...
I don't even know. What would I'd have to do something thematic, and there's nothing cool that you can do that's like YouTubing. I don't know. I'd be saluting. Why not?
I remember during Wolfgang, like when that was airing, every episode, and maybe I was just getting jealous because like I'm an old 32-year-old man now, but I remember nobody in that show ever sat normally. Everyone was always legs splayed on top of tables and friggin'...
Absolutely. And that is how I sit in real life, and that is how I will sit forevermore. I can never be stopped.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Don't worry. I'm sitting on my chair. I've got one leg underneath me and the other leg up in the air on the desk.
I kind of really want you to be smoking a massive cigar as well, just reclining. But I feel like, if there was a Dael bubble bath, it would have to be in one of those Wolfgang weird, like, yes, I'm sitting down, but I'm also hanging upside down off a chandelier for some reason.
Yeah. You know, good pitch. I like it.
I think we should come out with Bat Minute licensed bubble bath. If there is a company out there listening who can do that for us, I will pay you.
You got all that now. The Movies by Minutes, I was going to say festival, conference, whatever. The meetup has been. Now it's been, postponed for this year. It's like we got all this dough, John. What are we going to do?
Oh yeah, loads. It's not a small amount at all.
It should be just like a picture of the two of us podcasting with these really stupid big crowns we bought. It's just like, that's it. That's where your money's going to. Just giving us crappy, stupid crowns.
Hell yeah. But this is minute 75. And the minute starts with a poor excuse and it ends with a lovely Loeb.
Jeff Loeb of The Long Halloween fame?
Of course. What else would I mean?
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Loeb. But yeah, we are back as Bruce has been caught in the act. Sugar's onto him, but doesn't care, as I said. And his excuse for lurking is he was trying to figure out how you turn the machine off. Like, because he might be buying one and taking it home. But he's laying the groundwork there for wanting to shut it down for good.
Well, that's the thing, too. Even anyone who's anyone watching business rival Bruce Wayne coming over and wanting to learn how to turn the box off, it's going to seem suspicious in itself anyway.
Yeah.
I love as well that she does turn it off and hands him the thing. Like, in terms of, I understand why she does it for scheming purposes, but the fact that they're at this party where this is the express purpose why they're here is to show off how this thing works. He's like, oh, I wanted to know how to turn it off, and she just obliges. She's like, yep, we'll turn it off.
There you go.
There it is. We turned it off.
Also have to say now, in our modern computer age, it struck me as been a little bit like just yanking the USB out of the computer. Like if you got a pen
nice.
drive and you just go yoink, and you're not supposed to do that because you could lose all your goddamn info.
And brains are attached to this, yeah.
Yeah, it could be somebody in there in the middle of a fantasy who's all of a sudden getting brain damage because, like, oh, Sugar just yanked the friggin' pen drive out of the thing.
Bruce is also just like, oh, that's clever. And is it? Is it though? Like, it's just they stick it in the thing and it's like a battery and then they take it out and it turns off. Like, that just seems pretty normal to me, Bruce. I know I don't know that much about tech, but
I remember there's a guy at uni one time when he had something, he was working on a computer and then he was like across the room and he's like, oh, can you bring me my pen drive? And I was like, yep, and just took it straight out without doing anything. And he got so frustrated, he took off his shoe and threw it at me. Oh, and like, I imagine now Edward Nygma seeing this, been like, what? That's like yanking his shoe off and throwing it at Sugar.
Like when George Bush got that shoe thrown at him.
Yeah. But it was just like, he was just like, you could have lost all my goddamn work. What the hell are you doing? It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't think. But
yeah, it's important. And again, brains are involved
that
here.
was an Australian who threw the shoe. Just
was it?
Point that
oh,
out. Yep.
he is the pride of Australia, not Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, that's it. He took her space.
Well, a hero to us all.
No, this is that guy who threw, when Arnie was out campaigning to be governor of California, and some guy threw an egg at him. And then like Arnie just took off his jacket and walked on like nothing happened. And then afterwards, like, that guy owes me bacon. And I was like, Arnie, class act.
That is classy. Although I like how English it is when our politician John Prescott got hit with an egg, because he just turned around and absolutely pummeled the guy in the face.
Yes, it just turned into like a pub brawl for a couple of seconds.
How English.
No, but I can like that. Years later, that taking off the shoe and throwing it technique, it left an impression on me. So maybe that's the way people should go. Someone throws an egg at you, you take off your shoe and throw it back at them.
Hell yeah!
What a different take on this scene it would be if they pull out the thing and a shoe flies in from out of frame, hits Bruce Wayne in the face.
And it's actually Two-Face's shoe, so he's got like, I got to throw the other one now because I got to do everything with twos. It's a whole pain in the ass. But would be remiss, though, if it didn't mention that, like many things in this movie, this is, well, it actually makes sense, I guess, because this is the first Batman movie made post the animated series coming out. So in previous seasons, we've talked about, like, well, a lot of comic book influences on this bit and that bit, and because that's all they had to go for, except, of course, with the Cobblepot for Mayor thing, which was taken directly from the 60s TV show. This whole business here, what Bruce is doing right now, and the next couple of scenes, coming up later when the Riddler's actually looking at what's in Bruce's mind and stuff, this is all taken directly from an episode of the animated series called The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne. Wherein, at the beginning, Judge Vargas is like, she's desperately trying to get a tape. She's been blackmailed, and she's desperately trying to get it back because there's a secret on the tape and whatnot. Gets so stressed, has to get taken in the hospital. So Bruce Wayne finds out she was at a resort, goes to investigate himself, and it's been run by Dr. Hugo Strange. And he's not a major Batman villain at all.
No.
But he has a whole sequence then where he puts Bruce in, kind of like what their pitch was with Chase Meridian. It's like, wouldn't it be weird if Batman went to see a psychiatrist and he'd have to kind of cover up what he's doing and stuff. But Bruce he goes through a whole psychiatric session wherein Hugo Strange is kind of doing what the Machine ends up doing. This, tell me your fantasies and all this, going through his mind. And little does Bruce know, and it's weird that he doesn't know, because if he just turned around, there's a giant screen in front of Hugo Strange where he's literally seeing his thoughts. And there's a sequence then later on when like Bruce hasn't seen that, and he's like, I'm going to go investigate it. And he breaks in, and he's looking at Hugo Strange's machine, just kind of like the way Bruce Wayne's looking at the box right now and stuff. It's one of those things that's just like, so far with this movie, they've based the Riddler plot lines on 2 episodes of the animated series. They got a lot of stuff of Robin's origin from the animated series. And now this whole scene is just like, yeah, there's pretty much an exact scene like this in the Batman cartoon that's currently airing on TV. So it's kind of like the screenwriters, to be fair, but like you're getting it from a great source because that's kind of like some of the peak of Batman is in that animated series. But it's just also kind of like the screenwriters behind the major Batman motion picture are just like, yeah, we just watched a couple episodes of the cartoon and just thought that was pretty good. So
just repurpose it, you've got all this material to work from. You've got all these comics.
If it ain't broke. Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
About this, just how the technology is working, because they turn off the machine. I think it's hilarious that he walks away with the power source, and he just like stops talking to Sugar, walks away, and he's like, ha ha ha, I got away with something. It's like, what? You still can't. Okay, fine. She puts the new power source in to trick him because he thought it was off, but it wasn't off. But like when he goes in and Nigma sort of looks over to Sugar and she puts in the new power source and he's like, yeah, we got him. You can see over Nigma's head, they're still broadcasting people's fantasies onto the TVs above the booths.
Yeah.
So does no one see the bat fantasy above Bruce's booth?
I guess maybe. Yeah, that actually is a good question. Why does nobody ever...
Unless that's like a secret private one. He's trying to screw with Bruce or something.
Unless what they're doing is it's extracting people's thoughts. Maybe what they're seeing inside the booth isn't what's been projected on the outside.
Oh, so like at the same time as they are projecting some fantasy of his, the machine is also looking deep in and finding bats.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you know what? I'd buy that. Because it's set up in the previous minute where you've got if you can extract people's what was it?
If you can implant images in the mind, what's to stop you from extracting images from the mind?
Yeah, that stuff. You know, maybe it's doing both of those things at the same time.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
I kind of love the Nigma's whole, like, in that minute, like, his whole, like, oh, too timid to try my machine, just say so. Like, It's one of those things that you're almost like, is this whole party just so he can get Bruce Wayne? Like, he's like, I can't sell him a box.
I think so, yeah.
But I'll set up a party
where
I'll specifically invite him, so he definitely will get in a box so I can finally get into this guy's head. Like, it could be, like we're saying, like, oh, the boxes have been developing this whole time. It could be that it always had the capabilities of doing these interactive holograms and stuff, but Nigma's just trying to think of different ways to, like, I need to get Bruce Wayne wrangled somehow. I need to work him in, and I can't be guaranteed that he'll ever pick up the thing, so I need to get him to come to me.
Yeah.
So does this, like, green power source thing, does it just power it, or does that contain... like the knowledge and information? Does it get funneled into that so he can pick it up?
You know, I genuinely don't know.
It's weird as well because it's a liquid. It's the only liquid we ever see involved in the box technology. It looks like the regeneration juice from Reanimator. Like it's the same kind of thing. It's like a little vial full of like lime or neon green liquid. But it's like, yeah, what is this like? Is that the battery? Is it just the battery, or is this some sort of neural juice?
Yeah, because they could be planting this into his mind, maybe, by that switcheroo they've done. But I don't know.
Maybe Edward Nigma's come up with, like, this is a battery that will last, like, 1,000 years or something. Like, that's how intelligent he is now, that, yes, I've developed this new form of battery. And you just slot it in, and then that's you. It'll power an entire factory for a year or something like that.
Yeah.
Again, it'll be handy if they said that, but...
It really does sort of bring to light, when you watch a minute at a time, it totally highlights the fact that they've been very vague with what this machine does and how it works. There's a thing, it turns off, it's gotta look high-tech, so let's make it green, it'll be like the Ninja Turtle ooze, I don't know.
Hey, Hollywood hasn't changed.
On your head. And...
Hollywood hasn't changed. Look at Rise of Skywalker. Somehow, Palpatine has returned. Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was a week online where it's just like they brought out this novelization that explains everything, and then it was just the world going like, well, this is way worse. Oh my god.
What is this thing as well that has happened in the last decade where people think that as long as you explain why it makes sense outside of the movie, then that counts?
Yeah.
That doesn't count. If it doesn't make sense in the movie, it doesn't make sense. It's
I shouldn't have to read
its own text.
I shouldn't have to read extra textual stuff to make the movie make sense. That should add to the movie.
Yes, please.
But we'll say one thing actually, John. Maybe you got the same flashback as I did, but Sugar there when she takes out the other power source, she's got a little fluffy toy of a dog.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, she really reminds me now of someone very familiar to this show. where she's kind of like a young version of the Poodle Lady.
Poodle
from
Lady,
the West.
yes.
No, like is she? Maybe she's just. We keep thinking, oh yeah, she's sugar to spice and whatnot. Could be that she's just a major Poodle Lady fangirl.
Somehow the Poodle Lady has returned.
Yeah, oh yeah, she's regenerated herself. She went to the Lazarus pits,
Yeah.
and now she's back as Drew Barrymore.
That's it. They were setting it up for the 5th movie that never came.
Oh,
And that green juice in the battery, that's the Lazarus stuff.
That's
That's
There
the
you
what's
go.
going
Lazarus
with.
pit stuff. That's the juice.
that's what they
Okay.
would do these days. Because then when you bring out, the next movie with the new villain, you can tie it all together.
Yeah.
Oh no, I would be up for any more of Sugar and Spice, quite frankly. But I would, if it turned out, we've been saying the whole movie, Dale, that wouldn't it have been more interesting at the end. It was revealed, actually kind of like, again, Iron Man 3 was planning to do, where Rebecca Hall was going to be revealed to be the main villain. And then they went, she won't sell toys, so make a Guy Pearce.
Oh,
Oh, boo.
We've been saying, wouldn't it be interesting if Chase Meridian was actually revealed to be like, she was the villain the whole time. She was like a crazy Harley Quinn, but for Batman. And she was that obsessed with him and stuff. And then she eventually, like, maybe she, as a psychiatrist, is getting in this guy's head and messing with him. And a kind of Hannibal Lecter, Will Graham kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, even if they'd played with, like, can we trust her or can we not trust her, that would have been interesting, you know?
Yeah.
Especially once she starts getting close to working out that he is Batman. That becomes a real cool point of tension where it's like, oh no, like, do we want her to know that he's Batman because of romance? Or do we not want her to know because she might be a villain, you know?
that'd be much more fun.
At this point in the franchise, though, it's just like, well, I mean, Vicky Vale and Selena Kyle already knew that he was Batman. And both of those women have mysteriously disappeared as well.
These movies more than most. Like, franchises do it all the time, but this is particularly egregious in terms of, like, getting the girl and then never see her again. Just
Yeah.
never again.
Full on James Bond style.
I think it's kind of it's a testament to Batman and Robin that they don't bother with that. They have like the little bit with was it not Jenny McCarthy, the supermodel who was in Friends for a bit.
Al McPherson.
Oh, Elle McPherson, yeah.
Elle McPherson. She shows up as Bruce's love interest for like one scene, and then the rest
Yeah.
of it's all Poison Ivy, and it's just
To be fair, 1.5 scenes.
Oh yeah, so let's get it right.
She was present at the observatory at some point.
And we're all obsessed with Poison Ivy in that movie. Come on.
But it's as if like Joel Schumacher is like, let's cut the crap. Like we know.
We
Nobody
know why. Come
the love
on.
interest is not why people are here. They're here to see vampy Poison Ivy. Let's just
Yeah.
make her the main focus and stuff.
She breaks up with him in that movie, doesn't she? Elle McPherson? Doesn't she at some point say, look, I'd love to stay with you forever, but I know this is a totally different movie. We shouldn't be
I don't even remember.
going into the next. But because I watched it fairly recently, I'm pretty sure that at some point she just says, like, I would love to stay with you forever, but you are not interested in me, and she breaks it off. And I'm like, you know what? Good for you.
Yeah, that's actually positive for once. Yeah, they're not just
That's a
fawning over him.
development. Yeah.
I guess you would be like, oh, well,
I hope I
it'd
haven't
be nice to
remembered it
chase.
wrong now. I'll be so disappointed.
Well, you can come back for those specific minutes if you want, Dale. We'll make sure you just be like, here she is for verification in this 1 minute. Yep, that's what she says.
That'd get me extra points in my competition to become the most minute guest.
But anyway, one thing, like, I think because this is kind of like almost the last real scene that Drew Barrymore gets. Like, she shows up at the end to be like one of the display girls for when Chase and Robin are captured and whatnot. But this is the last kind of hurrah of our young Poodle Lady here.
Rest in
Sugar.
peace, Poodle Lady, once more.
But I think we'd be remiss if we're doing a movies by minute and we have Drew Barrymore here. We ain't even really got into like who Drew Barrymore is at this point of her life. I don't know, Dale. Like, how much do you know about the life and times of Drew Barrymore?
Not nearly enough. Please do enlighten me.
Because she has had, at this point, at 19 years old, she has had
That's so young. That's a baby. That's an infant.
At this point, like, she had an autobiography out at 14. Like, she has had a bonkers life. Like, absolutely insane. Because she's the granddaughter of John Barrymore, of course. They were acting dynasty and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
John Barrymore was in a production of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in 1920, which is the basis for Two-Face. Her father then was another actor called John Drew Barrymore. And her mother was born in a displaced persons camp in Brandenburg for her Hungarian WW2 refugees. So, she's Idako Jard Mako, her name was. And she's also the goddaughter to Sophia Loren and Lee Strasberg. That was her mother, was the goddaughter. And then Drew Barrymore's godfather is Steven Spielberg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously Hollywood family. Put to work for the first time in her life at 11 months for a dog food commercial.
Oh, I was going to have a go at you for saying put to work. That sounds like a slave sort of thing. But okay, she's like a child,
yeah,
like a tiny.
Yeah. Just sent down into the world. And then her first movie was a Ken Russell movie called Altered States. But then she really impressed Steven Spielberg when she auditioned for the role of Gertie in E.T. by saying that her dream was to front a punk band. So they'll enamor her with you there, John.
That just makes her even cooler. I already loved
Hell
it.
yeah.
But at this point already, because her mother was apparently her father was a very, very abusive alcoholic himself. And her mother was a bit kind of unstable. She used to take her out to Studio 54 when she was a child, just for a night on the town. And apparently, between the ages of 6 and 12, Drew Barrymore would go out partying, properly full on partying, 5 times a week. At the age of 7, she began pouring Baileys over her ice cream. She was an alcoholic at age 11. She became a drug addict at age 12. She then attempted suicide by cutting her wrists at age 13. Her mother then institutionalized her at that point, and she spent 18 months in an institution. At that point, and at age 14, she emancipated herself from her parents. She was deemed unemployable as an actor by age 15. At age 16, she was making a living scrubbing toilets. And then by 19, she's kind of on the rebound. She was in movies like Doppelganger and Bad Girls and things like that. And of course, then you get to 96, she's showing up in Scream and things like that. And then a couple years later, she's full blown Drew Barrymore and whatnot. So she's been through
Holy crap.
an absolute hell of a time.
Quite inspiring, though.
Yeah.
Hell yes. I mean, I'm it's so weird to say, but I'm proud of her for emancipating herself. I'm yes.
Yeah.
Good on you.
And she's very sensible these days. She still drinks and stuff, but she just has it under control. She's just a real
I'm so impressed.
Yes, and the interviews with her, she's oh yeah, she'll clink her bottle of beer and stuff, and she's oh, she's very, very nice. Nowadays, she's a full blown producer. She produced Charlie's Angels when she started. That was one of her babies. And whatnot.
And she's the best goddamn character and actor in the movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
My goodness, it's weird that if Spielberg was her godfather, you said that, right?
Yeah, Steve. Yeah,
it's weird that at no point she was put into his care. You know what I mean? If you have a godfather and your parents are clearly, not fit to raise you, that's weird that.
I don't know if he ever. This would be a thing worth looking into. Whether he ever tried. The famous thing he did, again, throughout her teen years, she was a bit of a wild child. The same year this comes out, she appears in the David Letterman show, and because it's his birthday, she flashes him live on air. She whips the boobs out.
Oh.
And then she posed for Playboy at age 18, and Steven Spielberg sent her for her birthday a quilt and a note just saying, "Cover yourself up."
Oh, that's a bit cheeky. That's not on.
Come on.
Oh, even worse than that, John. He then had a version of Playboy made where all the photos were doctored, so she was wearing clothes and every.
Oh no, that's shaming someone. That's not right.
My goodness.
But yeah, at this point, Drew Barrymore was starred in many films. So it's called Altered States, E.T., Firestarter, which is kind of a classic. Irreconcilable Differences. Ugh, apparently, I can't say that.
Well, try saying it. My other show about Hedwig. There's a line in the movie where the Croatian character says that exact phrase. So try doing it in a Croatian accent.
What was the exact phrase?
Irreconcilable Differences.
Oh my gosh. I can't. I'm just trying to think of basic Slavic. What is the most caricature version of that?
Mental cruelty, irreconcilable differences.
Irreconcilable differences.
Try to say it in a transatlantic accent, Dale. See how that works out.
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna give this a go. Let me think. I gotta get in the headspace.
Irreconcilable differences.
Irreconcilable differences.
It's such a weird accent.
It's so bizarre. Did you know that it was just invented? That it was just made up?
Yeah, just by like weird.
It wasn't real. Like the Boston Brahmin was a slightly different invented accent that was like, oh, it's specifically for all the very rich people in this part of America, so that we can prove that we're all part of the same rich circle of rich people. Whereas the transatlantic accent, they're like, we need both the Americans and the English to understand us, so we're going to talk like this. And they just like, it's like they don't have hard R's, but they hit a wall where there would be a hard R, and they just cut off the... It's insane. I love it so much.
It is fascinating. It's so strange.
But also, Poison Ivy, Far From Home, Cat's Eye, Babes in Toyland, Doppelganger, and of course, although talking about European accents, she's of course in Wayne's World too. Oh yeah, the Swedish secretary. Bad Girls, Boys on the Side, yada yada yada. But yeah, so at this point, she's pretty damn famous. Like mostly as a controversial figure out in the world. But it's sort of slightly weird that in this movie she's in there and she's kind of wasted unintentionally, where it's just like, we just had to give her something to do, I guess. And then like a mere year later in 96, like the whole ad campaign of Scream when it came out was like, Drew Barrymore is the star of Scream, and it was supposed to be the twist is that she gets killed in the first scene.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that again, because we're not going to see her for like a long time, so there you go. That's a Cliff Notes version of the life of Drew Barrymore.
We love you, Drew.
What a career she has as well. But I mean, we're talking about the early part, so I use the past tense. I'm fully aware that she's still working and still killing it.
I'm still annoyed that Santa Clarita Diet's cancelled.
I know, right?
Does Bruce intend to test out the box, or does he think, because it's off, he's just going to have a little look at it? Because he does sit down like he's about to use it, which is baffling.
Why stand when you can sit, John?
The first time I watched it, I missed the bit where Drew Barrymore, where Sugar pulls out the new power source and puts it in. So I literally just thought that he'd been shown, oh, well, this is how you turn it off. And then they turned it back on, and then he went inside. I was like, Bruce, why are you doing this? You know that the box is bad. Why would you go in? So I was relieved looking at it a minute at a time to see that. I think he must assume it's turned off.
But then why does he sit like he's about to use it? It's not like he walks over and has a proper look at it and like tries to figure it out.
He does just sort of stare at it as well. It's not like he's like fiddling with the wires or trying to see how it works. He's just looking at it. He's like, well, yep, that's it. That's the box.
But it makes more sense story-wise that he is like, okay, I've turned it off. I'm going to go and like check it out, look at how it operates, blah, blah, blah.
There is an eerie green glow when he's in there. Like it could be as soon as he walks in the door, Sugar puts in the power source and the whole room has like an eerie calming effect on him because it's giving like this green glow, the sort of like stupefying him. And then the little laser shoots out in his head and that's him properly connected to the box. But I think at this point he is definitely just like
giving the movie too much credit there.
Oh, that's welcome to this season, Dale. It's like the amount of set design. I'm like, if this is what they're trying to go for here, this is genius. But it's almost definitely not. But for example, even like this thing, like the box TV's got these big wings coming out of it. Remember in the first movie, the in the armory, there's a big thing that Bruce had. The Japanese suit of armor that had the fans coming out of it really reminded me of that. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be something of like Wayne Manor had been part of like a magazine, of like, the houses of the rich and stuff. And Edward Nygma had that and pored over that magazine for ages and ages.
And pulled from it for his own design.
And then he based the design of the box here a little bit on the thing he saw in Bruce Wayne's house and stuff. It's like
amazing.
That'd be cool. But that's not what it is.
No. That's the problem with the movie. We've said this before. It's got all the right elements as like the groundwork is laid well. And then every opportunity they can, sort of make this a masterpiece, they take the wrong turn.
Yeah. You know what? I agree with that wholeheartedly.
The premise of it's like fine and
It's
sound.
fine. It's fine. It's a solid like thing for a movie. Come on,
Yeah.
give it to me. I'm just here for a Batman movie. Like I'm not looking for some genius piece of artistic cinema. I just want a good Batman movie with a fun like story. It's got a little dash of mystery, a little dash of action.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Although they also do have the thing in terms about like, oh, Bruce has gone in here thinking the box is turned off, and that's what I'm assuming he's hoping like, oh, I can have a look at it without it tampering with me. It's also kind of like they have like a Chekhov's power source. Like he's got the power source for the box. Sugar's just giving them out apparently,
yeah.
and it never comes up again. You would think like
He doesn't investigate it, like he doesn't run an analysis on it. Nope.
Yeah, that should be how he discovers that he's stealing people's like IQ. Like, there's some residual thing in the liquid.
yeah. Or it could be a thing like in the climax, like in order to shut down the box, he has to overpower it, so he adds in the other power source or something.
Yeah.
And it blows up. Except at the end of this movie, it's just like he just throws a batarang at it, and that's the end of the movie.
Again, it's much like the underwhelming end to The Rise of Skywalker. 2 lightsabers.
I mean, it's not this minute, and I shouldn't focus on it. I understand, but it's so funny to me as well that Edward Nygma is, the Riddler is just like, you have to choose, you have to choose between them because you can't save both of them, and the answer to that is that he just can't. He can't save both of them.
He's Batman.
It just turns out that Riddler is bad at estimating, like, I don't know how fast Batman is.
It should be just like the Riddler saying you have to choose between both. You can't save them at the same time. And then Batman, like Sherman Klump and the Nutty Professor, is like, yes, I can. And just throws a batarang.
Well, this voice as well, speaking to him, I get it's meant to be like relaxing. It's meant to be like hypnotic. But to me, it sounds creepy as all hell. I don't want someone speaking to me in that voice.
That was very relaxing and hypnotic, what you just did.
Better than the movie, some would say.
Yeah.
Because in the movie, it's not so relaxing.
Well, you want it to be more of like an ASMR kind of thing, maybe? Or
Well, ASMR, you've got
Hi.
weird mouth sounds like...
Hi, we're here to read your brainwaves. Today we're going to project your fantasies onto a screen for a whole crowd of rich people to see.
That effect wasn't very good for you guys who are hearing me through my computer microphone, but I was speaking into my microphone. So
It'll be great. Don't worry. It'll be fantastic.
we'll find out.
yeah. But speaking of things like that, actually aren't in this minute though. But I am curious, Dale, because I'm trying to. I just want to see what everyone's opinion on it is. Is that I personally am a big fan of the Batmobile from this film, and it seems I'm in a minority. So I put it to you. What do you think about that Batmobile?
It's fine. For me, it's not a shining star of Batmobiles, but it's a solid Batmobile. I'm neither here nor there on it. I'm very sorry to say. That's not an exciting stance. It's not as strong as my stance on, bees with stings or.
But what if Jim Carrey was in the Batmobile? How would you feel about it then?
Oh, I'd hate it so much. Can you imagine his driving acting? No. Yeah, I don't know. It's very middle range for me. Yeah, I have no strong feelings about it either way.
See, Niall loves it, and I don't like it that much. I like some of it, but it's the fins, because they look cheap and wobbly.
See, that's interesting. I quite like the fins. I like the silhouette that the fins provide. So for me, if a Batmobile doesn't have the fins in any capacity, that's when it starts to be a no-go Batmobile for me.
Oh, you're not going to like the new Batmobile then?
I'm not gonna.
We're fans of this new one because it looks like a car that someone souped up.
I guess, and that's cool. But I don't know what. There must be some specific Batman text in my early childhood that's gotten into my brain and be like, that's what the Batmobile should be. Like, even if it might have just been a toy Batmobile that a cousin had or something.
Yeah.
That I used to play with, because I don't feel like I watched a lot of Batman content when I was a child. But there is something deep in my mind that sort of is like, no, it needs the fins. It needs the...
I don't think you're on your own though, because there have been a few people I've seen online, like, you know, people in the listeners' game and stuff, who will be like, and even my brother, when I saw him, I was like, oh, you see the pictures of the new Batmobile? Like, it looks great, right? And he's just like, you know, when I'm watching a Batman film, I'm here to see Batman stuff. I'm not here to see, oh, he's stuck a rocket on the back of a car or something. I'm here to see a friggin' Batmobile. What the hell is this thing you're giving me?
Yeah, but it feels like if it existed in real life, it probably would be something like that.
That's true. I think it's going to depend on the whole kind of design approach that they take for the movie. Because, yeah, I feel like I stated very strongly before, I don't hate the new Batmobile concept, but, like, I like it more than probably the Nolan Batmobiles. But it will depend on the level of realism that they take with the rest of the look of the film. Like, what does Gotham look like? I know what the Batsuit looks like, but, you know, what does the Batsuit look like? How does it fit in? What do the villains look like? How are they dressing?
Yeah.
And if the level of realism doesn't match, that's when I'm going to have a real problem with it.
No, I agree. It's got to fit. Everything has to be cohesive.
Yeah.
Although now knowing that it's filming in Liverpool, it's like me and John was like, I can tell you exactly what the city's going to look like. It's going to have Radio City Tower behind it. And then there's going to be the ancient sign from Nightmare on Lime Street, the play that Sinbad's in. This is never freaking aired. It's never not on all the time. So over here, people are going to be all dressed in shell shoots, and they're going to have little curly hair because that's the classic Scouser look.
It is, yes, of course. It's still 1982.
That's good to know. Here's a question. Since you clearly know what Gotham will look like, you've intimate information in that area. I would love to know, are you going to miss elements like the gigantic, insane statues that are hanging around in Gotham in these movies?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're part of the appeal to me. That's what I like about Gotham.
I miss them during, even the Nolan tenure. Because Batman Begins isn't too bad in that, because it just looks like this kind of orange-soaked, constantly rain-drenched, really monolithic city. They're always down on the ground level, so everything was like way up atop. Batman Begins Gotham looked like, oh yeah, I get that. And then The Dark Knight landed, and it's like, yeah, it's just Chicago.
Yeah.
Well, where's all the weird statues and stuff? Like, even this movie's kind of, they got their old Grecian statues going on. Actually, when Bruce is stepping into the booth, it's got a little swirl on it. It's like, oh, it's a very Tim Burton-y kind of touch there, actually, as well. But, like, yeah, you're just really longing for the days of, like, remember, like, Batman Returns? Remember how weird-looking Gotham wasn't that? Wasn't it great? Wasn't that with everything you want from Gotham?
The days of getting an establishing shot and just going, who built this? Like, what happened to get this approved? The funding must have been insane. How rich are you? It's the Colossus of Rhodes just hanging out.
It's just like, all the pitch like Anton First always has, like, it's literally like hell erupted from the ground and they just kept building upwards. Like, yes, that's fantastic. Yeah, do that.
That is awesome. I don't know why, at the very least, they don't just, if he wanted to look like Chicago, okay, but pepper that stuff in as well with CGI. Just put it in CGI. Just the odd statue, just a little nod to the fact that people love this look.
Yeah.
Like this movie.
I recently had a conversation with Omar where we were trying to pinpoint. We were like, yeah, it's Gotham, so we know it's got this idea of like New York in a different time. But what city is most like actually Gotham? And we were trying to decide between like Detroit or Baltimore.
Well, actually, that's so weird because, again, not to keep banging on about it, on the last episode I just recorded of my other show, we go on about Baltimore loads because that particular scene's set in Baltimore. And I was saying how all I know of Baltimore is from John Waters movies. So that's how I view Baltimore. I have no idea what it's really like.
The thing is, like, Baltimore to me is like I get the Gotham thing because The Wire is set in Baltimore, but they show you like the slums, like the really horrible areas where it's like, it's drenched in criminality. And then they also show you like the high rises and the politicians and stuff where it's like, it's actually quite fancy here. And then also Baltimore to me is Silence of the Lambs. Like Silence of the Lambs is set in Baltimore. The Hannibal is set in Baltimore.
Wait, what? Silence of the Lambs is set in Baltimore?
Yeah. So Baltimore is also the home of Hannibal Lecter, like effete, sophisticated, super rich serial killer. And it's
Yeah.
also the home of like Bubbles from The Wire. It's-
Yeah, well, that's where we kind of landed as well. This idea of like, here's this city that's trapped in this intense duality. You know, it's that idea of there is almost no true middle class. You're either very well off or you're quite badly off. And I mean, my understanding of Baltimore is torn between The Wire as well, and of course Hairspray. Good morning, Baltimore.
yeah, classic.
Yeah. There's the flasher who lives
Of course,
next door,
the grand
etc.
reunion of Max Schreck and Selena Kyle in that movie. Chris Walken and Michelle Pfeiffer getting a musical number together towards
So
the end.
good. It's such a good. I love it so much.
It's a little bit where he electrocutes her. He gives her a little hand jolt
Yeah,
with
a
the buzzer.
little
It's like,
hand
oh,
jolt. Yeah,
is that a Batman reference?
It's
we can only
gotta
hope
be.
so.
Yeah. But anyway, like, is there any other notes for this minute in particular anyone has? Or shall
No.
we?
I've just got little things like it's a bit weird for a VR to ask for your fantasies. That's about it. Actually, no, I do have one thing. Sorry, I have one thing. It's just dawned on me, right? Bruce is going in here. Shouldn't he be worried, right? Specifically him, about things that render your dreams and fantasies a reality. This is a person
Yes.
who's leading a double life.
Come on, man. Please.
Again, I guess he thinks. I guess he has been a complete idiot, but like he has trusted the henchwoman of his arch nemesis at the current moment, who also looks like the henchwoman of his previous arch nemesis from the last movie. That she's definitely taken, even though she's acting very sinister and very sultry. She's definitely taken out that power supply, and there's no other way you could just put in another little
He
battery.
almost looks smug about it. He's like,
I've got one up on you. I'm so smart.
He doesn't
Is it
even wear
Batman
like
still got it?
reflective sunglasses in there or something. I don't know. Like, it wouldn't work, but like at least I would feel like he tried.
This could out him as Batman to everybody.
I think we're kind of at the end of this minute, though. So
We're at the end of the minute.
We did it.
And we've
Yeah,
been through
yeah.
your history with the movie, really.
yeah, I
Which
don't
is-
know if there's any more parting shots you want to take at Batman Forever, but I guess now you have the floor if you have any thoughts about anything else in the movie.
I feel like I've made myself quite clear. Maybe not. I didn't talk much about Robin being bland and annoying. Robin was bland and annoying.
What about "Kiss from a Rose"? How do you feel about that as a song?
Kiss from a Rose has that great scene in Community, so I'm pro that song.
Oh, yes.
This is why my friends often compare me to Leslie Knope, because I have opinions on everything.
Well, this is also the point where I'd normally toss the coin, but you got the riddle right in such amazing fashion that I am going to toss the coin to see if me and Niall live or die.
I'm so
So-
excited to find out.
Niall, heads or tails for our survival?
I'll go Tails Never Fails.
Tails never fails. Right. Tails, we live!
Oh, thank God.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm so pleased, because otherwise the podcast would have to end. I'd feel so responsible.
I was actually hoping we would get heads there and fail, because then I could just go, join the show next week, where it'll be presented by Dael Kingsmill, who now has to take over the show.
I want it by right of conquest.
It's like, but before we kill ourselves, we're going to have to send Dale the MP3s of these episodes so she can edit them.
I'll give you all
Look
the
at me.
passwords.
Look at me. This is my podcast now.
Give you access to the accounts and whatnot. Yes.
This turns into Anne of Green Gables Minute featuring Batman Forever.
That sounds like a good podcast. It's a bit like that one, Gilmore Ball Z. You could do it like that.
Yeah.
No.
100% on board.
Yes. But we will depart now. We'll head off into the dark, dark night. So one more time, Dale, would you like to tell people where they can find you and your work on the interwebs?
I would love to, thank you. You can find me on YouTube. The channel is called Monarch's Factory. I make videos there about all sorts of geeky stuff, but mostly mythology and Dungeons and Dragons. And you can also find me on Twitter at DailyDale, talking all sorts of nonsense.
Yay. I mean, that's basically what we do, so that's perfect. Listeners, if you like this, you'll like that. Different topic, but same vibe, I think. Fun. Exciting.
Nonsense all round.
And we will see you again on Monday for more Bat Minute Forever.
Next time, Ballroom Blitz, the revelry turns riotous, and there's a cataclysmic cacophony, all created by the arrival of old Deuteronomy. This function's turned fearsome due to a lunatic looter, but can the chaos shake a stately chevalier of his unsolicited stupor? Find out next week. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.